So, I'm gonna make a video about the establishment
Oh
and
my
how
god.
how like all corporations are evil, and I'm gonna upload it from my iPhone using the Wi-Fi and my mother's Toyota Highlander SUV. It's a hybrid. Howdy, folks! Welcome to the Lost Begotten channel, where apparently I'm feeling a little sarcastic. How about you, dear?
Sounds to me like you're feeling kind of Valley Girlish. Like,
Oh
oh
my
my
god!
god. Like, you will totally not believe what Brittany's nephew's cousin's uncle's brothers had to say to me. Oh my god, he thinks you're hot.
Is that the one with the Pomeranian?
No, he's got the pit bull.
Okay. Um. So,
Oh,
where
bro.
to begin? There's some interesting things happening all over.
Sorry, scared
But
cat.
the first thing I want to get to is the Dakota Access Pipeline. I've been doing a lot of trolling regarding this. I've been doing a lot of emailing regarding this, but I'm kind of kicking myself in the ass because I haven't actually fucking done a video about it. You know, not that my fucking videos are important. Um,
Things that make you go, huh?
but considering like what I've been trolling about, I guess maybe it could have helped the other news people. If anybody gives a fuck about, like strategy and truth and, what's going to happen in the future, that kind of thing. See, the thing is, they've basically screwed themselves. And by they, I mean the Young Turks, for instance. Okay. Democracy Now!, Amy Goodman, has actually been doing very good coverage of this. Um, but the Young Turks, being the most popular on YouTube, obviously, um, they've been doing a serious disservice.
To say the least.
They've basically been using this as a stick it to the establishment thing. Every single video they make, instead of asking Hillary Clinton's help, instead of asking for the Democratic Party establishment's help, okay, they take every single video as an opportunity to attack Hillary Clinton, to further promote the idea that, you know, she didn't win the popular vote by 2 million plus. And that's not helpful. Okay, like being on the far left and being on the far right is the same thing. I got some notes here.
Ooh.
I'm gonna
The
read them.
notes of science
Okay, so
and technology.
the no dapple shill cock block. Okay, they use dangerous rhetoric like the establishment and the elites in their, and what they are is a pseudo intellectual version of trying not to sound paranoid. Okay, all these different conspiracies they have, they're just pretending to be informed, but they're basically conspiracy theorists. They use this rhetoric to try not to sound paranoid, while generally relying on the same evidence standards as the right wing conspirators they claim to be smarter than.
Claim being the key term there.
Yeah. And let's see here. What else? All right, there. What? Yeah, just all I have is when did you ask her? When did you ask Hillary Clinton? When did you make a video trying to unify Democrats around this thing? In fact, when have the Young Turks made a single video trying to unify Democrats as opposed to constantly promoting their agenda of dividing Democrats. The Bernie or bust mentality. As Sam Setter had just said, where are they now applauding themselves for not getting Hillary Clinton elected? They were acting like, oh, well, Trump's going to win, and, it goes to show the fucking Democrats. Okay. Let me tell you a little something about the Democratic establishment. And in order to do so, I'm going to tell you about the sequester and the Dakota Access Pipeline and what's really going on there. You know the whole thing about there's a redrawn plan that's supposed to be legally what they're doing. And they're not doing it. They're just plowing through the same fucking trajectory. Okay? This is because of, and many other things that have gone wrong, are because of the sequester. Okay? Your EPA, your FDA, your Department of Interior, all these different agencies, okay, have no more enforcement because of Ted Cruz's sequester. These local corrupt officials are all you got because you didn't want to stand up for, guess what, the Democratic establishment. Like 40-hour work weeks, overtime pay, holidays, that kind of thing. That's the Democratic establishment. Labor rights. Healthcare for children. Ooh, big bad Democratic establishment. How dare they?
Right.
If Hillary Clinton has to take money from Vladimir Putin, okay, I still don't have a problem with it because of what I know she does with her fucking money. Okay? This isn't about phobias and shit. This is about the principle of judgment, which is judge them by their works. Or else don't judge them at all, or you will be judged yourself. Yes, you can combine two rules into one, and the interpretation is pretty clear. So, what else you got on the no daffle, dear?
One major thing we didn't bring up, how Trump has stock.
Oh, yes.
In the company. And not to mention that two of the people who are in consideration for the Department of Secretary of Energy, I believe, are also billionaires that have, investments in oil and whatnot.
Ain't that a bitch?
And the thing, aside from that, the thing that kills me is like, okay, so I like to look at things 360. I can see both sides of this. I can understand the protester side, but I can also understand the government side.
Right.
Okay, both have valid points. Okay, I just don't understand what the issue is. If you got all these billionaires backing you, wanting this pipeline, why are you making such a big deal about going around the lake as opposed to under the lake?
Because they not only don't give a fuck, but they're intentionally trying to tard the libs, as it were.
It's just
okay. They're trying to make. You gotta understand the far left and the far right take their orders from the same places. Okay, so these people being far right, these oil company investors, and we don't know how much of these oil companies are owned by Russians, for fuck's sake. We just don't know. Okay, so they could literally be intentionally
some
doing
of them
it.
Are based out of Texas,
and yeah, that too. They could literally intentionally be doing it for different motivational reasons, but ultimately just to be dicks. Okay, so for one reason or another, they're brainwashed into acting in accordance with the divide and conquer strategy from the Kremlin.
Even taking that into consideration, okay, you're piling all this money into this project, right? I mean, this is costing millions and probably $4 billion, I think, is what they're saying. Okay, so you're investing.
Ultimately going to wind up over $6, I'm sure.
Okay, but you're investing all this money into a metal structure that, metal fails underground, rust, rot, things of that nature, decays after time. Um, you're gonna run this under a lake. So that means if something goes wrong in that portion that's under the lake, what, you're just kind of fucked? Which you gotta drain the lake. Why not go around it to where you have easier access to fix something if it goes wrong?
These people have never built reef tanks.
Well, I've never built a reef tank. I've watched you do it, but I mean, I'm just talking common sense here, okay? I get the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, so your cheapest cost in building would be to go straight across that lake. I get it.
Right.
But it's not environmentally sound. They just had, a month ago, an oil spill on a farm in North Dakota, and they said the hole in the pipeline was this half of a quarter of an inch.
Yeah. See, sometimes it's better if we don't make a video about something, okay? And I'm not trying to take credit, but this is kind of how our karma works, okay? And while we hadn't made a video about this specifically, that happened, yesterday?
No, this article I read
that it finally got.
This happened about a month or so ago,
right,
and
but it's just finally just getting reported.
Yes, exactly. Because it was on some rural spot in North North Dakota. But the thing is though, this guy, the oil that spilled was 20,600 gallons out of a size of a hole that was a quarter of an inch.
And how many acres it's covering?
It's covering 7.3 acres.
7.3 acres.
A little bit bigger than 7 football fields for you guys who don't do the acre things. That's
That's a nice size fishing hole.
This guy was harvesting wheat. That's what he does. Now, thankfully, he had most of the wheat already harvested that he had grown this year before this happened, but that land is now destroyed. He can't grow anything there anymore for years.
The way he discovered it wasn't his tires started slipping.
Yeah, his combine. He was out there with his buddy. They were harvesting everything, and the buddy just
seeping up to the ground.
The buddy described it as like the theme song from the Beverly Hillbillies, only they weren't hunting, they were harvesting. It was bubbling out of the ground. 20,600 gallons of crude oil. So now you have land destroyed. So these people saying, oh, well, it didn't affect anything. Yeah, it did. It affected the fucking land around it. This guy cannot grow his crops anymore.
And look, the size of that hole could be a bullet hole.
We don't know.
Is that sabotage? Is that intentional? No. People fucking hunt.
We hear it out backyard all the time.
Okay? And as good as you can construct a pipeline, okay? And I could design a pipeline much better than these people are doing it right now, okay? And it really wouldn't add that much cost to it, okay? Using heavy mineral oil and polyurethane. But anyways, no matter what I think of, I cannot economically make a design in my head a ballistics proof pipeline, an accident in general proof pipeline. Okay? What if a fucking earthquake just happens to shift the land a little?
Sinkhole. Because those haven't been popping up left and right.
Plane crash. Meteor strike. I don't know how to design around that. I know these fucking people don't. And I know they're not going to pay for half the shit that I could design for it because I know other people could design the same shit.
And the whole thing going back full circle to talking about building this damn pipe underneath the damn water. It's a lose-lose situation. If something goes wrong, it's going to take you more time and money to get to the problem. First of all, by putting it under the lake. In that time, you're going to be losing oil, which means you're losing money. The environment around is going to be destroyed. Gas prices are going to go up because it's going to take you so long to stop the freaking leak and get shit processing again. None of this makes any sense. And the whole, they don't give a shit does not factor into that. They're going to lose money. They ought to care. If they don't care about anything else, then they ought to be caring about, oh, look, that can cost me a shit ton of money.
And just a side note for anybody who ever thinks it's a good idea to let Republicans win. Okay? When Republicans win, they get to make more money off of oil. That's why the oil prices, that's why your gas pump prices go up under Republicans. That's why they've been so reasonable the entire time during Obama. Okay? And one thing I could guarantee you results on if Hillary Clinton was in office, like, you know, if she, won the vote, which she did, and then got to be president, if the electors do their job, I guarantee you gas prices, shit in general, would stay the same in their gradual incremental improvement. Okay? You can complain about the gradual incremental improvement that us establishment Democrats, or whatever you want to say about it, educated people, Yale graduates and shit like that. You can have a phobia of somebody graduating from a high class institution, but the fact of the matter is, those are really smart fucking people. Okay, and this incremental approach is the reason why you have freedoms. I've been trying to tell you. Now that you're about to lose all of them, care to get on board? Care to act like people who passed civics class and understand how democracy works, who understand how the party system works, before they just spend all their time complaining about it?
They're also having the same pipeline issue in Florida. I think it's like pipelines that are supposed to be going from Alabama down to Orlando, somewhere in Alabama to Orlando. This guy bought land that he thought was federally protected, conservation area down in Florida, and bought his land on there, and they don't give a shit about the conservation laws. They're tearing up his property, and some of the sinkholes that are appearing from this dig and everything. Yes, there are sinkholes appearing from this dig. They said there's one in a particular part of Florida that if you look down into the sinkhole, you can see a massive cave system underneath the ground where there's like rivers and stuff flowing underground. And they're saying that this could be the biggest cave system in the underground cave system in the world. But they don't care. They don't care. I mean, who knows what's down there? I mean, the whole other freaking civilization could be on there. We don't freaking know. And you're more worried about sticking a freaking pipe in the ground.
Doozers?
Mole people?
Dance cares away. Worries for another day.
Down a rock.
Yeah. Okay. So, I was going to talk about one more subject, but I think this one's gone on long enough. So, we're going to.
Oh, yes, and don't forget, Trump owns stock in the company who is running the Dakota Access Pipeline. I posted, some of you guys are my friends on Facebook. I posted a link.
Yeah, and, okay. The next video is going to be about strategy and the lack thereof right now. Okay, how basically apologetics has taken over and neutered any effort we might undertake, like, for instance, the Dakota Access Pipeline. And it's along what I've been talking about, but I want to go into solutions and why these solutions are the best solutions and need to be acted on right now. So check that out when it gets uploaded. Thanks for watching. Hit the little thumbs up button. Peace.